It's hard to look for positives when your team gets as thoroughly dominated as the Chiefs did in Super Bowl 59. But honestly, the defense played a pretty good game. The defense definitely played well enough to win the game if the offense had given a good performance, and that was mainly on the strength of the run defense. When the Chiefs defense had trouble, it was usually the pass defense that was allowing the big plays. The run defense was solid all night. So let's take a look at some plays to show what the Chiefs were able to do defending the run game of the Eagles, which had been pretty formidable throughout the season and through the playoffs. Let's start here near the end of the first quarter. At this point, the Eagles are up 7-0. There are 8 seconds to go in the first quarter, and they have a 1st and 10 at the Chiefs' 30-yard line. Let's take a look at this play, and then we can break it down. So we've got Jalen Hurts in the gun. He's got Saquon Barkley to his left. There's one tight end out on the left. That's Dallas Goedert. Hurts fakes the handoff and runs left, where he is met by Shamari Connor, who ends up running him down, and he ends up losing 4 yards. So let's break this down. This is actually a creative way to run a counter play. So the way that a counter play is run in the NFL, or in football in general, is you'll have 2 players pulling. In this case, it's the right guard and right tackle, Lane Johnson, the right tackle, and Mekhi Becton, the right guard. They come out and pull, and the rest of the line is going to block down. So you get 3 guys blocking down, 2 guys pulling, and then the runner following the pull. And usually on the counter play, the runner will take a false step in the direction of the 3 down blockers before coming back and following the puller. This is a creative way of doing it because the false step is actually a fake handoff to Saquon Barkley. So they try to get the defense going to the right with this. Right here, you see the fake handoff. That kind of takes the place of the false step over here, and then you've got guard pull, tackle pull, and Hurts is going to run right behind them on the counter play. Well, the Chiefs have this set up pretty well. The backside's not pursuing because of the counter. So that's what the kind of fake step, or in this case the fake handoff, does, is it prevents the backside from flowing down and helping out with the run play. George Karlaftis is respecting the potential of Saquon Barkley. Chris Jones beats his reach block real quick and comes down. He's actually able to pursue backside to behind Jalen Hurts, but he's not going to catch Hurts from behind. What really makes this play, though, is the stout defense of Mike Dana. So Mike Dana is over here as the Chiefs' right defensive end. He comes inside Dallas Goedert, who's going to try to help lead the play along with the pullers. And watch Dana here come in, and he's going to actually take on both pullers by himself. So he's got the guard and the tackle right there, eating up 2 pulling blocks, which frees up Nick Bolton to be completely unblocked coming through, as one of those pullers really was intended for him. And at the same time, Shamari Connor manages to slip this attempted block by Dallas Goedert, so he comes free as well. So the Chiefs did a great job of, essentially they had the end. Mike Dana went in to attack the pullers. He got both, and then you get these 2 coming outside for contain, giving Jalen Hurts nowhere to go. But the real, the hero of this play, the guy who made this play happen, is Mike Dana, eating up those 2 blocks, allowing Bolton and Connor to scrape around the outside and pursue. And then Jalen Watson does a good job getting off of his block here to help in the pursuit. And there's just nothing for Jalen Hurts here, who has to slide down for a loss of 4. You can see it even better here from the end zone copy. So again, counter, you've got 2 pullers, and then we're blocking down on this side. And then there's a false step in this direction to try to get the defense, prevent the pursuit from the backside, and then follow the pullers. So their false step is they're going to have a fake handoff to Barkley going this way. So here's the fake handoff, and you can see what it does to Karlaftis. It gets him to stop, to respect the potential for a run in this direction. At the same time, you've got these pullers coming, and then you've got Goddard trying to get to the second level and block Connor. So ideally, from the Eagles' standpoint, if you could get Becton to come block Dana and Johnson to come block Bolton, or vice versa, one for each of them. But instead, look at Dana here. He's takes on the block from Becton, and then he manages to come inside so that Johnson blocks him as well, and he actually gets his face mask pulled right here. This should have been an illegal use of hands to the face penalty on Mekhi Becton, but it wasn't called. And Dana eating up both of these blocks is what allows here Bolton is able to come free around the outside. At the same time, Connor here does a great job of slipping this block. Suddenly, Hurts has two Chiefs right in his face. Reed's coming down to fill, and Watson does a good job getting off of Devontae Smith's block, and Hurts has nowhere to go. The ideal situation is, if this is blocked up, is to try to get Hurts out here. He's trying to, there should be a hole out here, and the Chiefs instead manage to stretch this play out toward the sideline, and Hurts can't outrun Connor, gets taken down for a loss of 4. Here we jump ahead to 12:37 to go in the second quarter. The Eagles are still up 7-0, and they have a 1st and 10 at their own 43-yard line. So let's take a look at this play, and then we can break it down. We've got Jalen Hurts now in the pistol. He's got motion from right to left, and then he takes a snap, hands it to Barkley, who's met right at the line by Drew Tranquill, maybe a loss of 1 or so on that play. So let's break down what happened in this one. This is actually another counter run. It's drawn up slightly differently, but same idea. We've got the guard pulling here that's responsible for the kick-out block, and then the tight end is supposed to come around and lead Barkley through the hole. So again, you're going to have blocking down here. And then you have, I drew one on the guard. I meant the tackle. So we're blocking this way, and then we allow the guard to pull, and the guard kicks out. He's supposed to kick out Leo Chanel, who's the edge guy here, and the tight end is supposed to go through the created gap and lead the running back through. This time, the kind of hero on the play is Leo Chanel. And let's look at Leo right here as the edge guy. He's the one that's going to meet the pulling guard over here. As the guard comes around, look at Leo just slam him and just completely stop him in his tracks. And what that does is what they're trying to do here is down block Mike Dana, who's putting up a good fight, and try to create a crease. If this guy gets kicked out, if Chanel gets kicked out, then there should be a crease between Dana and Chanel. And the tight end wants to come through and block the first defender in, probably Bolton, and give Barkley a lane to go through. But that lane that they expected, Leo Chanel just slams it shut by stonewalling the guard right here. And watch as the tight end is trying to get through the gap. He actually trips over the guard because he's didn't get nearly the movement they anticipated, so there's no hole there to get through. He trips trying to get through that gap. He can't get through the lane because Leo Chanel has completely slammed it shut. And on the other end, the guy who makes the play is Drew Tranquill with great pursuit from the backside. Remember that counter motion is supposed to kind of hold Tranquill in his tracks and prevent him from pursuing the play, but he isn't fooled and follows, and not only the counter action, but also the kind of fake of the zone read here by Jalen Hurts. But Tranquill does a good job holding his ground initially and then pursuing. And since Barkley doesn't really have anywhere to go because Chanel has done a good job slamming this shut, Tranquill has the time to pursue and make a good strong tackle for a loss. You can see it even better from this view. Remember, so this is the counter action is the guard coming and trying to kick out the end man, and then the tight end is coming around and trying to get in. So they're going to try to down block Mike Dana to create a gap between these two players. So first the tight end and then Jordan Mailata together, they're trying to get Dana inside. And they're going to try to get Chanel outside. The idea is to create a gap between the two of them, which the tight end would lead Barkley through. Sorry, I drew that a little off, but they would lead through this gap that they create through them. But watch how the play actually unfolds. So the key here being Leo Chanel. Watch Chanel come down to the pulling guard and bam, he hits him right there. And the tight end is trying to squeeze through this gap that's essentially non-existent because of Chanel holding his ground. The tight end trips, and Barkley can't accelerate through the hole, which gives Tranquil time from the backside to come in and make a strong tackle for a loss. The interior was very stout here for the Chiefs too. Look at, nobody's getting moved. Doing such a great job anchoring, holding their ground. Even though Dana gets pushed a little inside by the double team, still holding his ground, making it tough. And because the tight end had to work so hard getting Dana inside before he could come to the second level, he's not able to block Bolton. Not that it mattered in this case anyway, but Bolton would have been there as this tight end trips through the hole because Chanel had made it muddy in there. So the Chiefs, again, with a great job in their run defense, keeping everything tight, squeezing holes, and then pursuing really well from the backside for another big stop. We jump ahead now to 2:25 to go in the second quarter. At this point, the Eagles are up 17-0, and they have a 1st and 10 on their own 44-yard line. Let's take a look at this play, and then we'll break it down. Got the Eagles, again, Jalen Hurts in the pistol. He's got motion from left to right and hands off to Gainwell, running to his left. He breaks a couple tackles and then is ultimately taken down by Nick Bolton for no gain. So let's take a look at this one and break it down. This time, we've seen two more like gap scheme plays. This is a zone running play. This is outside zone. So the idea behind this run play is to challenge the edge and then force the defense to flow outside and either beat them to the edge and get around it, or if the defense pursues to the edge, try to find a gap and cut this back up the field. So it requires the defense to, on one hand, make sure that they're not getting outflanked to the edge, but at the same time to maintain their gap integrity so they don't leave any holes between them, because if they work too hard at trying to prevent the sideline run, they might present an opportunity for the running back to cut it up. So you really, step one starts at like setting the edge, making sure that it's hard for the running back to just get out, and particularly you don't want him to get out while being able to move forward. If the running back has to hit the edge, you want him moving as laterally as possible, extend the run, and so it gives the team time to pursue down the field. But if you let them hit the edge going forward, that's good night for a run like this. So look at Charles Omenihu, the line of scrimmage here, it's the ball's at the 44. Omenihu does a good job of getting upfield and maintaining his position. Look at him a full yard behind the line of scrimmage. Look at Turk Wharton, again, the same thing. So you combine penetration with keeping the outside leverage, so they're staying outside of their defenders, but they're not moving so far laterally that they create a gap like between them or up here for Gainwell to cut back. Gainwell is still having to push toward the edge, which is exactly what you want. In the meantime, Bolton here slips the attempted block from the center, so he comes free and he's able to pursue behind them. Wharton actually does a good job here of getting upfield and getting a hit on Gainwell, further slowing him and pushing him laterally. Omenihu does the same thing. He gets a hit on Gainwell. Unfortunately, neither one's able to pull him down, but the benefit was they got him moving laterally and even backwards. Look, at this point, Gainwell is back at the 38-yard line when they started here up at the 44. So they managed to string him out, get him backwards, and then finally Nick Bolton finishes the pursuit and gets to him right at the original line of scrimmage. There was nothing schematically special about this run from defense from Kansas City. If you look at it, they had 6 defenders ultimately going up against 5 offensive linemen and a tight end. So it was really like 6-on-6 here. The Chiefs just won their blocks. They got off their blocks and they pursued really well. This is just really sound run defense. It's nothing schematically crazy. It's just great technique and great effort by the Chiefs to string this play out for no gain. So we see it from this view. Again, the idea is they are zone blocking. So they're kind of blocking an area. They're trying to get out wide and ideally have the running back threaten the edge. And if they get around the edge, hopefully get around the edge moving forward. Otherwise, take the pursuing defenders and try to cut up the field in between them. So as we watch here, look at Omenihu and Wharton are both maintaining leverage to the outside, but they're not pursuing here. They're trying to push upfield and slowly squeeze this run out. See how they kind of maintain their gap, stay disciplined. At the same time, importantly, Bolton's able to get off of this block. He's too quick for the center, pushes him away. Wharton does a good job. He gets upfield, and he's able to get a hit on Gainwell right here. Omenihu the same. He gets upfield and also gets a hit on Gainwell. Gainwell does a good job of breaking through those tackles, but Bolton was still able to pursue, and he wasn't able to get out of Bolton's tackle. Gainwell wanted a horse collar on this play, but if you look at it, this is a legal tackle. Bolton's got him around the shoulder pad. He didn't actually horse collar on that play at all. And Bolton does a great job of bringing him down. We jump ahead to 11:23 to go in the third quarter. At this point, the Eagles are up 27-0. They're really trying to run out clock, trying to get long drives using the running game. They have a 2nd and 6 right here. They're at about their own 23 or 24 yard line. Let's take a look at this play, and then we'll break it down. We've got Hurts in the shotgun with Barkley to his left. Got motion right to left. Hurts hands off to Barkley, who gets hit by Karlaftis and taken down right in the backfield for essentially no gain. So again, similar conceptually to some stuff we've talked about before, this is a counter action. So what they've got here is they've got the guard, Landon Dickerson, pulling, and they're attempting to kick out George Karlaftis here. So they want to move him out, and then the right tackle and right guard are trying to block Pennell in, shove him in, while the left guard, Dickerson, comes to kick Karlaftis out, and then the tight end is going to pull through that hole and lead Saquon Barkley. The kind of main man here is George Karlaftis. If you watch, so here they go. Look at how well Lane Johnson's able to get a nice shot on Mike Pennell and pop him out of the way. So you think they're ready to make a huge hole here. They've got the big run stuffer. They get him off of his feet. But watch how Karlaftis meets this pulling guard. Because if the guard's able to kick Karlaftis out, you think they're cooking with gas here, having shoved Pennell out of the way. But again, Karlaftis just stones the guard like Chanel did in an earlier rep. Nowhere to go. Again, the tight end is really trying to hit a gap in here. Tranquil does a good job here coming down in pursuit as well. But the tight end, kind of hesitates here, doesn't really have anywhere to go, tries to sneak back in here, but again, they're anticipating Karlaftis to be moved. They're anticipating him to be moved out, so there's some space to run through here. And the tight end ends up almost essentially running right into the back of his own lineman. He kind of squeezes by, but Barkley is left with nowhere to go. I think he initially is thinking what it feels like is he's thinking, well, the tight end's kind of coming in here. There's nothing. Maybe he's going to try to bounce this outside. But look, Tranquil does a great job of scraping to the outside, which I think makes Barkley hesitate right here. And then he ends up right in Karlaftis' arms. But look at the overall pursuit from the Chiefs. They've got Tranquil's got this outside. Bolton's here got this inside. Since Chris Jones did an awesome job really eating up the double team and not letting anyone come through, Mike Dana's able to come free, and he's got it inside. Look how many hats they have coming to the ball. But it all started with Karlaftis just absolutely stoning the guard again. So the Eagles just weren't able to create these holes with the gap scheme run game that they were anticipating. We can see it here from the end zone view. So remember, you've got pull to kick him out, then they're trying to push him in, and then he's supposed to come in the hole that's created by moving him out. So here we go. Here comes. Look at what they did to Pennell. They did such a great job here. Well, Becton's blocking him. Lane Johnson gets a shove and gets him down. So now that they've moved him out of the way, then Johnson's going to come up and try to block Tranquil. If the guard can just get some movement over here, with a block here, there should be a big gap for Barkley to run through behind his tight end. But they aren't able to get any movement. And Tranquil slips Lane Johnson's block and manages to get contained on the outside. Meanwhile, Bolton's coming to get contained on the inside. So ultimately, there aren't any places for Barkley to cut here. And again, it looks like since the tight end kind of runs right into here because he's anticipating these two to be moved out farther, Barkley's not going to just run in the back of his tight end. So he looks like he's trying to push this outside until he sees Tranquil. Once he sees Tranquil, he kind of cuts it back in, and he's got nowhere to go. He's got Bolton here on the inside. And again, Dana is coming free. And let's take a look at why Dana came free too. That is our man, Chris Jones. Look at him eat this double team. He's just coming, pushing through. So Dana is free with no one to block him. So he is able to scoot on over and add. So we've got 1, 2, 3 defenders with nobody. We've got a second level defender, Justin Reed, all with eyes on the ball. All 3 of these guys in positions to dictate where Barkley can go. And so Barkley ends up kind of eating it for no gain. Just great team defense from the Chiefs. Again, they really, at this point they're down 27-0, and the effort is still high. The run defense is still effective. They're trying to do anything they can to give the offense a chance to get back in this game. We jump ahead to 6:47 to go in the third quarter. Eagles are still up 24-0, and they have a 1st and goal at the Chiefs' 4-yard line. We'll take a look at this one, and then we'll break it down. We've got Hurts in the shotgun with Barkley to his left. Hands off to Barkley, who's hit by Shamari Connor in the backfield and loses about 3 yards. So let's take a look at this one. This one is a kind of standard zone read play. So Jalen Hurts is going to take this snap, and he's got 2 options: to hand off to Saquon Barkley or to keep this and run. They actually, if you notice, have Ajay Brown running a slant here. So it kind of looks like it's what Tom Brady in the playoffs was calling a triple option, that you could hand off, run, or throw. However, with Barkley being to Hurts' left and him turning this way to read on this side, it doesn't seem like, normally if this was actually a pass option, you'd have it over here. You'd have him run the slant on this side so Hurts can read the underneath defender to see if he should pull the ball and throw. The fact that it's on the back side here where Hurts is not looking at all, I think this is just window dressing. I don't think this play ever intended for this pass to be thrown. Because Hurts can't, he's not able to read the coverage. He's turned to his left, reading. What he's doing is he's reading this end defender to see if he crashes down. If Jalen Watson were to crash down, then he would hang on to this ball and run. However, Jalen Watson holds his ground, so he hands this off to Saquon Barkley. But like I said, since this is on to Jalen Hurts' back, he's turning the other way. I don't think there's ever any intention of holding that ball and throwing. So he sees Watson still hanging out here, and so he hands this ball off, and Shamari Connor does an awesome job getting inside of his block. At the same time, if you'll notice, Drew Tranquil comes in and slams into the center right here. We can bring that back and forth. See, here's Tranquil right here. Slams into the center, and right next to him is Tershawn Wharton. And look at the two of these guys just absolutely stonewall their blockers and push back the line of scrimmage right here. So they push back the line of scrimmage, which gives Barkley no room to cut. He has to stop his feet here. He's not able to. There actually is a hole here in the B gap. So had he not have his two offensive linemen just right back in his face, it's possible he'd have been able to take this to the outside. But he's having to stop and cut laterally, which gives Connor enough time, having beaten his block, to get in there and make the tackle for the loss. Assuming they were able to keep the line of scrimmage a little higher, it's possible he would have been able to make this cut and outrun Connor to the spot. But having to stop here, gets hit, gets taken down. Another big stop from the Chiefs. And here we've got Connor with his great pursuit, and then you got Wharton and Tranquil just absolutely shifting the line of scrimmage here with their play. Look at Wharton and Tranquil right here. Pushing up. Look at where Barkley has nowhere to go, and then Connor does such a great job getting inside that block and pushing in to make the tackle. Another good run stop by the Chiefs defense. The effort just kept at it. They just kept at it. Here down 24-0. They just kept pushing and continued to stonewall the Eagles' run game. So now we move up one play. We've got 2nd and goal at the Chiefs' 7-yard line. 6:04 to go in the third quarter. Eagles are still up 24-0. Let's take a look at this play, and then we'll break it down. We've got Jalen Hurts in the shotgun again. He's got Barkley to his left. Got Devontae Smith motioning over from right to left, and Hurts hands it off. And Barkley again is hit for maybe a gain of 1 yard. All right, so this one switches it up a little bit. We've been seeing those counter runs where you have the guard coming in and trying to kick out the end guy, and then the tight end coming in and trying to lead the back through the hole. This time the guard comes over to pull, and he hits the end guy, but here Karlaftis is crashing. So this ends up looking a little more like power. The guard comes in here, and then the tight end will come and try to get a kick-out block. And Barkley is going to follow. But as you see here, so here Dickerson comes around to get Karlaftis. Again, he's just not able to get a lot of movement on George Karlaftis here. And then the tight end comes in and tries to get a kick-out on Tranquil, again, to create a hole here. They actually, again, try to use Johnson and Becton to push in here. So it looks like the original plan might have been to have, the hole be right here, to have the guard come in and kick out Karlaftis. I think they were actually running the same scheme they had been running earlier, but since Karlaftis comes in and squeezes this play, then Dickerson just blocks him here, and instead of having a hole right there between Karlaftis and Nadi for the tight end to run through and lead Barkley, they have to come out here, and the tight end just tries to find work here and ends up blocking Tranquil. But again, the pursuit plus the overhang is so good. So Justin Reed comes on the outside, and then look at Derek Nadi. Here he's getting the double team. He's getting the shove from Johnson, who's then going to try to come up to the next level. But the shove actually seems to help Nadi disengage a little bit from Mekhi Becton. And he comes off, and he's able to pursue. So you've got Reed here, Nadi here. Bolton ends up slipping Lane Johnson's block attempt. So he sheds that. So he's also there. And so even though the tight end's able to meet Tranquil here, again, the movement is almost nothing. The pulling guard isn't able to move Karlaftis. Tranquil is able to, he goes low, and he ends up managing to prevent the tight end from making this block and moving him out of the way. He at least holds his ground here. And then Reed and Noddy are able to squeeze this and prevent a big gain. Again, schematically, not anything like overly exciting. I think this time strategically they had Karlaftis squeeze, and then they had the linebackers kind of come and replace over the top. But in every way that they tried to do it, they were able to handle this counterplay time and time again, preventing any major gains. And again, stuffing the Eagles' run game, this time in the red zone. So again, from this angle, we're going to have the pulling guard, and I really feel like the goal was to pull here, kick out, and to block down. But since Karlaftis squeezed, he ended up pulling here and try to push him in, and then the tight end came to try to find work toward the outside. And look at the linebackers. Look at them all flow here. They're ready, Reed is coming to flow toward the outside. Tranquil is coming, and Bolton is coming. And here Bolton manages to shed the block here. Tranquil takes on this block. Reed comes from the outside, and really props to Derek Noddy here, as he was the guy that was going to get Lane Johnson. The way that he knocked Pennell over earlier, he was trying to shove him down, but he gets off of that and still manages to squeeze this run from the other side. And look at the traffic the Chiefs managed to create with these 4 defenders. Again, Barkley has nowhere to go. Jump ahead to 12:56 to go in the game. The Eagles are up 34-6, and they have a 1st and 10 at the Chiefs' 43-yard line. Let's take a look at this play, and then we can break it down. Got Jalen Hurts in the pistol again. Takes a snap and hands off right to Saquon Barkley, puts a spin move on Justin Reed, and then is taken down by Charles Omenihu for a loss of a yard. So here we have just a an outside zone concept. So we've got the line zone blocking to the right, and again, the idea is to threaten the edge. So you've got Barkley trying to threaten the edge and ideally break it outside going vertically, but if not, they can get the defense to spread out and hopefully create a gap where Barkley can cut it upfield. So that's the design of this run. Of course, the biggest thing on this kind of run is to try to set the edge. You'll notice at the snap, Justin Reed spins down to fill at another defender of the box. And if you look over here, Mike Dana does a great job setting the edge here on Lane Johnson. Basically gets to the outside here and forces Barkley to keep this run inside. Barkley's not able to push it outside because of the pursuit. And Justin Reed comes and fills right here through the gap. His late spin down makes him not accounted for in the blocking. He comes right down and gets right into the backfield. So this kind of late rotation by Justin Reed is filling the gap, combined with Dana setting the edge and making it difficult, both by getting upfield and getting to the outside, preventing Barkley from going outside, causes him to cut it up right into Justin Reed. Now, Barkley makes a nice move on Reed and continues going forward, but here's the benefit of keeping those zone runs inside. When you force them back inside and prevent them from getting out and up, that allows your backside pursuit to get involved in the play. And here Charles Omenihu managed to shed his block, and so even though Barkley does a great job spinning out of Reed, Omenihu's right there to clean it up. It's just a good, disciplined run defense against this zone run scheme. So again, it all starts here with Dana, who manages to get upfield and set a hard edge. And then you see Justin Reed spinning down and entering the box to add another defender. And Reed is decisive. Look at, as Dana gets to the outside and gets upfield, Reed decisively cuts through, gets penetration. And, it's Saquon Barkley, so he makes a nice move. But look at simultaneously, Charles Omenihu's shedding his block, and he's there to clean it up. Again, just disciplined run defense from the Chiefs. Even at this point where the game's out of hand, they're still not letting any major runs go through. Really, really good performance by the run defense. We jump ahead to 8:58 to go in the game. The Eagles are up 37-6, and they have a 2nd and 3 on the Chiefs' 26-yard line. Let's take a look at this play, and then we can break it down. We've got Hurts under center here. They motion Goddard over to the right, and he tosses right to Barkley, who gets hit by Tranquil and taken down by Leo Chenal for a loss of yardage. On this play, we've got a toss to the right, and you have tight end in motion, and then the line is just everybody's coming right. There's a toss play to the right, and you really want to focus here on Drew Tranquil and on Leo Chenal. Let's start with Tranquil. Again, when you've got these runs to the edge, what you're really trying to do is you're trying to get penetration up on the edge and hold your line so that you prevent the run from being able to get upfield around the edge. What you want is either to force the running back inside or to make him really bow this out and take as much time as possible to get to the edge to allow your pursuit to get there. So watch Drew Tranquil here charged with setting the edge. First, look at the penetration he's able to get. He gets up the field. He actually takes on this tight end first. Then he comes back through Dallas Goedert's block as well. And look at the depth he's able to get here. We started at the 34-yard line as the line of scrimmage. Look where Tranquil ends up. He's up here trying to get to Barkley around the 31 or 32. So he's like 2 to 3 yards in the backfield, completely blowing up this play. Because here Barkley is trying to find a way upfield. And here Tranquil is in the way and forcing him to continue out wide. And then Tranquil uncovers and forces him back inside. And then look at Leo Chenal coming from the back side of the play here. He's all the way on this side. He was over the top of the end and then sliding over. And then he comes out, cuts through the line, and pursues all the way over so that when Tranquil forces Barkley to stop, Chenal is there to clean it up. Like, look at that pursuit. Coming all the way from here, making the tackle over there on a toss play. Look at him get all the way across. And as Tranquil does the initial work, kind of stopping the play from getting going, Chenal's there to clean it up after Barkley breaks Tranquil's tackle. I mean, just continued excellent run defense. The run defense was ready for everything that the Eagles threw at them. Look at Tranquil. Just like, you're not blocking him with these tight ends today. You really feel for guys like Tranquil, Chenal, Mike Dana, Turk Wharton. They really played a great game in the Super Bowl. These guys played so well, and it's just for nothing because the offense could not do anything. Now we're a couple plays later. We've got a 3rd and 5 at the Chiefs 28-yard line or so. Again, Eagles still up 37-6. This is 8:13 to go in the game. Let's take a look at this play and then we can break it down. We've got Jalen Hurts in the pistol. Hands off left to Barkley. Bolton hits him and then Wharton brings him down for a gain of 1 yard. So this time we've got an inside zone play. So Barkley is trying to come up here and try to read a gap, this time targeting, instead of like trying to threaten the edge, the idea is coming up and targeting the center left guard area, and again trying to find a gap as the line zone blocks over to the left. So as the Eagles get started here, the first person to ruin this play is Nick Bolton, who IDs quickly, finds a gap, and just shoots through. Bolton, when his run defense, when he's decisive, coming downhill, that's when he's at his best. And he gets Barkley to stop his feet, change direction, and prevents him from getting momentum, getting up the field and looking for a gap. As Bolton does a good job diverting him, Barkley does break his tackle, but Turk Wharton is able to uncover and clean up the play right here. This was great play both from Bolton and from Wharton to thwart this running play. So here you can see it from the left. Look at the line. We're just zone blocking left, trying to create an opening as Barkley will probe the left side and try to find a lane. And look at how quickly Bolton, coming from his spot right here, how quickly he identifies. He hits the A gap, the right A gap, flies right through, north-south. Barkley does a good job evading him, but it's all those extra steps that takes a little more time in the backfield, and it gives time for someone like Turk Wharton to shed the center right here, come off, and make a big tackle. The Chiefs' run defense continued to be effective into the fourth quarter of a game that was a blowout. This was a really great effort from this defense, and a lot of players can hang their hats on some really good tape that they put out there in the Super Bowl. It's just really unfortunate that the Chiefs' offense could never get anything going until the game was out of reach, because these defenders really came up to play on what could have been the biggest day in the careers of most of these guys. You know, how often do you get to play in a Super Bowl? I know guys like Drew Tranquil have already won one. Turk Wharton's already won one, but Charles Omenihu didn't get to play last year in the Super Bowl. It's just unfortunate. These kind of legacy-making days, a lot of these guys did their part. They played really well in the run game, and they stopped the Offensive Player of the Year in Saquon Barkley to a pedestrian game. But unfortunately, the offense didn't hold up its end of the bargain, and so these efforts will largely be forgotten.